Have you spent tens of thousands of dollars on courses and programs and coaching, and you've nailed down your niche, but for some reason you're not getting the results that you want from your business? Then you might be suffering from toxic productivity. In this episode, we discuss what can be causing you to get stuck in a toxic productivity loop. So keep on listening. Hey, you. Your next level of expansion is here. And you're not going to accomplish it through hustle and grind. Oh no, not you. You allow ease and flow to come through you so that you can manifest the business of your dreams. Welcome to the Aligned Businesswoman podcast, where you get to be in flow and allow your strategic CEO to meet your inner goddess. This is the podcast for female entrepreneurs who want to strengthen their intuition muscle while applying simple and practical business growth strategies to accelerate it. We'll combine energetics and strategy along with human design and your gene keys to optimize your business performance and results. Where are my ambitious entrepreneurs? Hang out with me for the next 10 to 12 minutes because I have some information that is going to blow your mind. You're going to have a couple of braingasms, okay? All right, so tomorrow inside the Aligned Businesswoman Facebook group, we're going to start a 3-day event called Unbusy, where we're going to redefine productivity for women in business. And so that you can get the most out of it, I wanted to do a brief little of what to expect and how to prepare. Get a pen, paper, let's take some notes because you're going to really want to make sure that you are fully engaging with the content over the next 3 days so that you can see massive shifts in your business and in your life with less resistance. Now, the event is going to be a little bit different than most events when you think of a Facebook group live event, because I am not just going to do video training that's 30 minutes long. I'm going to do bite-sized trainings mixed with action prompts and written content. It's designed to not make you busier, but to help you get unbusy and still be productive. The focus is not to give you more things to do, but actually take away some of the things that you're doing that aren't in alignment with where you want to go. Over the next 3 days, I'm going to present to you some tools and resources that are going to help you create these massive shifts with some tweaks that really help you release anything that you may be resisting, because we're going to go to the root cause of some things that are holding you back. These things are something that even the savviest, most successful, most ambitious, intelligent, hardworking entrepreneur can get stuck in. So no one is immune to this. In fact, it's almost as if the more successful you are, the more you can be prone to some of these things. So we want to make sure that you are aware, because this is a really slow, undetectable poison is what I call it, that results in things like strained relationships, poor health, stress, exhaustion. All the things are actually holding us back from reaching our goals. So with that being said, let's start a little bit of a conversation. And I'm going to give you some things to journal about until tomorrow. And then anything that comes up between now and then, you can drop it in the comments of the posts that go out tomorrow. The tools that I'm going to be presenting to you are going to be kind of like a flashlight, where I'm going to go through the symptoms, the signs, and all the things that are an indicator that we are stuck in a toxic productivity loop. That is getting, that's basically keeping us so busy that we don't have the energy or the focus or the time for ourselves or for really our loved ones, and all the reasons why we say that we are growing a business. Now, here's the thing. It happens incrementally. It's like saying yes to a happy hour when you really need to stay home to work on something that once you get this done, that it's going to free up a lot of time, and it's going to maybe put your business on automation where you can get sales in your sleep, or Maybe you say yes to doing a coworker's job, or maybe a team member, or maybe you say yes to doing something for someone personally that takes you away from your business, and that slows you down so that you're not making the money that you want to be able to delegate to someone. All these little things happen little by little by little, and it gets us stuck in the toxic productivity loop. Now, here's the thing. We end up getting addicted to the stress. We don't realize it, but in a physiological way, we get addicted to this stress, and so we become dysregulated. And it's normal for us to be in this dysregulation. We learn to function in being dysfunctional. And pretty soon we're in this trance, not realizing, because we're like, yeah, I'm successful and these things are happening. But we're measuring success based off of how much we're making and how much we're doing. Not necessarily the quality of our life or our relationships or our health. That right there can get kind of scary, right? Well, we're going to get you back into equilibrium and to be in balance as much as possible. Now, when I say balance, I mean being able to coordinate between one energy and the other, and knowing exactly when to go back and forth on them. Because there is not, in my belief, you can't be balanced at the same time, like in both things. It requires that there's an overall picture of going back and forth. So oscillating between the two. There is this, what they call Rosenthal effect, or you can call it Pygmalion effect, that I want to review with you. And I believe that this is why we can get stuck in that toxic productivity loop. This is how the Rosenthal effect occurs. And that occurs with our beliefs about ourselves. So maybe I'm just going to give you an example, and there's many different ways this shows up, and we can discuss this during the event together. So there's a belief that we have about ourselves. So maybe it's I'm not worthy, or let's go with I'm not worthy. And this belief that we're not worthy of having something or doing something or being a certain way influences our actions towards others. So this might come up in proving energy, because if we feel we're not worthy, we're going to want to overcompensate by proving that we're worthy, right? It's like we want to trick ourselves into just being that, right? Being worthy. Well, then that influences our actions towards others. And then that impacts their beliefs about us. So that might look like someone being like, why is she trying so hard? Oh, that's just proving energy. They might be put off. I mean, they might think that we're overcompensating with our confidence. And so that might turn them off, which then causes their action towards us, which is like, maybe moving away from us. I remember one time I was in, I think it was like 6th grade. I liked this boy, and and I was like always like wanting to be around him, and, probably smothering him. And his dad said, what happens when you try to hold on a cat and you try to, love on them too much? They go, yeah, and they want to get out of your arms. Right. So that can have that could cause actions like that from those people towards us, which reinforces our belief like, oh, hey, see, I have to go prove myself that I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy because this person left me, or this person said no to me. This person didn't want to be my client. So that becomes a vicious cycle. Now, that right there, that cycle that happens, it gets us stuck in the toxic productivity, because then we are, well, I try to prove myself this way, so let me do this instead, or let me learn this other skill instead. So it's keeping us so busy trying to prove something that is a belief about ourselves, when we could just change that belief, right? This also can, when we get the results that we want, and we are like, oh my gosh, it's kind of like a fluke. What this can end up happening is like we do this like panic manifesting, but it's so stressful on our nervous system that in order for us to keep doing that, like we feel like we have to be in this, this panic mode, but we're not realizing it's panic mode. And what it really does is that it the chaos doesn't allow us to have that clarity. So when we can actually calm our nervous system, then we can really manifest more consistently and with ease. But as long as we're doing these things and our nervous system is out of whack, then we're going to be manifesting and thinking that it works, but it really doesn't work. And then we're going to keep trying until like hopefully it works one more time, right? We don't want to do that. Here's another thing before we move into the exercise and wrap up. There's different parts of information or signals that come from our body, right? It's called afferent signals that go signal our brain, and efferent that our brain signals down to our body. So for instance, when we're cold, our skin will pick up that we're cold. And then it tells our brain, ooh, I'm cold. And then our brain will say, oh, okay, well then put a sweater on, right? So often we are living in our headspace and directing things in our lives that's actually causing more chaos and that's not really communicating properly. And we fail to realize that the signals, there's only 20% of signals, but yet we're working and we're operating with this 20% of signals that are coming from the afferent signals of our brain. Our body has so much more wisdom. That is those afferent signals, that is 80% of signals, yet we're overriding it with the logical, we're overriding with certain beliefs and certain thoughts instead of allowing them to work together efficiently. So with that being said, let's go ahead and prepare for a quick self-audit. I want you to ask yourself these questions. What do you value? Whether that is, in business, which, they're going to be very closely related, because what I found is that when entrepreneurs have a certain value, they decide, I'm going to create a business around this value. But sometimes we lose sight of that. And we allow our business to control our lives instead of our life values dictating and controlling and influencing our business. So what do you value? And are these business values, is your business supporting these values? So for instance, if you value family time, is your business supporting that? If you value rest, is your business supporting that? And then to take it a step further, are you embodying the transformation that you're selling? I don't care if you're selling tennis shoes, or if you're selling a food product, or you're selling coaching services or consulting services. There is a certain transformation that you're promising, and the elements of that transformation, you must embody it too. That's just another way of saying, like, do you believe what you're selling? Do you believe in what you're selling? Because if you believe in what you're selling, then most likely you're going to be embodying that in some way, right? So let's say you create websites. Well, for what purpose do you create these websites? So that you can allow your business, so you can allow your website to do a lot of the selling for you. Well, why would you want that? For what purpose do you want that? Well, because I want to be able to have financial freedom and time freedom. So I want to be able to make sales from my website so I can have the time freedom. Okay, well, are you embodying the things in your business to be able to have the time freedom and the financial freedom? We had to really dig deeper in that, because if it is a no, then what it leads to, or what it indicates, is that you might be stuck in this toxic productivity loop because you're doing things that aren't in alignment with you embodying this transformation and you living out your goals, you living out your values through your business. And then ask yourself, is your purpose bigger than you, or is it just for you? Because what can end up happening is that we can choose things and activities that are out of alignment because it's just about us. It's not about a bigger purpose. And we can tend to give so much of ourselves to other things if it is out of alignment with a bigger purpose. It's kind of like this. It's like we make it easier to quit something if it's just about us. But when we feel like we owe it to something bigger, then we're all in. We're more focused on these things, right? We're more wanting to master with a certain balance. It's like we make it a priority to grow our business in a way that is supportive of not only us, but we make it ecological, where it's about the bigger purpose, right? And we know and we understand, because especially when we're bringing our values into this, is that if it's at the detriment of us creating this bigger purpose, then there's no purpose. There's no way of us actually fulfilling that purpose. All right, that is all I have for you today. So I cannot wait for us to get started tomorrow. And this is what you can look forward to. So we're going to be talking about understanding toxic productivity. I'm going to dive in deeper. We're going to talk about identifying the signs and the root causes so we can extract those things and create momentum in your business. We're also going to be talking about the impact of these toxic productivity behaviors on how they have on our profits. And then we're going to move into strategies for overcoming this so that we can actually make this a practice that is just a part of who we become or who we are versus something that we just try out for a little bit and then we're like, oh, that didn't stick. We're going to make these new habits stick so that you become unbusy and more productive and more profitable. All right, I'll see you inside the Facebook group. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Aligned Businesswoman podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa Ann Miller, and I'm so excited to share some goodies with you. Head over to the show notes so you can grab your free gift and make sure to leave a review and join me inside the Aligned Businesswoman Facebook group. Until next week, bye-bye, my love.